It's important to recognize that integrating AI does not save time, it increases production. That is the truth of the matter. And with that, in my industry, there's a lot of fear around AI replacing us, around AI performing better than humans and replacing whole industries within the tech industry. Now, we don't have to worry about that, and we can be more optimistic. Why? Because we can look at history. Now, this history example is going to have little bit of doom and gloom tied to it, but there's a lot of positives that come to it. But then there's also a lot of lessons to be learned to think about as you are running your marketing business, as you're developing your software company, things to consider as you are looking to the future, which feels unknown, but because of history is known. So, back in 1920s, the tractor and large machinery industry for farming completely upended the industry, made it where mass amount of production and streamlining, increased production due to technology advancements was the result. Now, what happened from that? It was a little bit of a contributor of the Great Depression. There was excessively low food prices driving increased production for farming and food, and it made all the small farmers kind of fall out. And a lot of the small farmers had to either sell or shift what they were doing. Now, some innovators really pushed into it, dove into it, but then we also saw government regulation occur within that industry, and a large amount of, for instance, the Dust Bowl was a result of poor farming techniques because of over farming and overproduction with this. And really, in my industry in marketing, we're seeing a Dust Bowl within search results because so many people are overproducing cheap junk AI results. And it's just the same thing rehashed a different way. Now, what survived? What did well was quality. And the thing to think about too is when the government stepped in, it just made a standard and it kind of put a band-aid on it. And we're seeing the results of it 100 years later as food quality has decreased because it, rather than setting a standard of like, okay, this is where it has to be, it makes all the quality things drop down to that standard. So I don't know if AI will have government involvement, but I do expect it to in certain levels in the future. But bigger picture is tying with that Dust Bowl, the results of that, they kind of required it. The government step in with that. Now, in content creation, in content on sites, we kind of are experiencing the Dust Bowl online. Results aren't as good as they were 5 years ago. They can be sometimes, but I would say they simply feel a little bit better with AI. And it just depends on your perception of it. And if you pay close attention to it, you feel like the quality has dropped. While if you're not paying much attention to it, you're like, okay, this AI result is useful and valuable, but I'm losing context. And that's the Dust Bowl of online search, I would say. And this is tied in with software too. The quality of the software development drops because everything's streamlined and baselined because it makes a lower standard. So, how do we survive? How do us as industry professionals, majorly being impacted by AI, survive in this Dust Bowl timeframe? What's interesting is 100 years later, home farms still exist. Large farming is where like production, everything is controlled. But I was on vacation 2 weeks ago, went to this little home farm down in Cape May, and they were charging an insane amount for the food and things that they had, but they were doing well. They were surviving. They focused on quality. They focused on an experience. They focused on being in person and being there. And people will pay for that. Now, on our side, on marketing, on software development, on all the different tech industries that are impacted, what will stand out is quality, is being present, is a unique experience, focusing on that. And that will weather the storm. And you should consider this if you're not impacted it, but If you're a business that isn't deep in the tech industry, something to consider is what you are doing, how you are doing it, and integrating AI. Don't just go for the cheap thing. While it might get the job done, longevity is what we do focus on in business. Consistency is what we focus on in business, because that leads to growth. If you're looking to make a quick buck, you'll make a quick buck and then burn out. Go have fun with that. If you're a business that wants to grow and do things well, you'll focus on that quality, so then you don't get sucked into the dust bowl and pretty much be producing nonsense and dirt. These are just some morning Friday thoughts for you guys. I would love to have a discussion with others that are impacted by this, thinking about this. In all of it, in the developments of technology, focus on producing quality. While AI will increase production, think about what you're producing. Think about whether or not it's good or valuable, if it's helpful. If we were to have I would describe it as a Great Depression on the internet, I don't think businesses will be hurt that much. I think interaction would return to more in-person focus. And I personally, within my friend groups, family groups, all of it, I see a very strong divide on people that use the internet, are consumed by it, use social media, are consumed by it, and a large group that avoids it and is not consumed by it, and I would say are better because of it. And that's the thing you have to consider, is how much time are you wasting on here? Looking at AI results, looking at a machine's content. All right, I'm getting down a rabbit trail. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Take care. Bye.